What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun.
My name is Shryyke of the New World Colony Pleiades 5, born ancient Earth year 2135 AD. I'm a genetic moded level 9 human, Homo sapien caste, age 932 galactic standard years. This fragmented memory record may be the only historical document remaining following the great Homo sapien purge of 2820. Where do I start? I'll tell you what I know. Homo sapiens, humanity, began on a world called Earth. Following the development of memory downloads and quantum intelligence, Earth people of the mid-21st century learned to sustain their lifespans indefinitely, causing an unparalleled population explosion. Mining colonies were quickly established in the neighboring star systems. Genetic enhancements in men and women bred emotional arrogance. Petty jealousies and small wars followed. By 2137, my mother and I had abandoned the overcrowded Earth to live in the colony Pleiades 5. We were the lucky ones. Destruction of our beloved Earth fostered a power struggle in the local quadrant. During this time, a mysterious race of entities known as the Watchers intervened, enforcing many years of peace. Their gifts to humanity were hyperspatial wormhole gates that negated the temporal problems of relativity. Humanity expanded throughout the galaxy, but as quickly as they arrived, the Watchers vanished. Hyperspace wars erupted everywhere. It was during one of these wars that I barely escaped with my life, while my dearest mother was away fighting for peace. By this time, only 2 colonies remained, my home, Pleiades 5, and the industrial mining colony, Konstrukt 3. This downloaded memory record is a history of my mother, Colonel Mara Shryyke, the bravest woman I have ever known. On my mark. Approach pattern Epsilon.
Yes, sir. Roger those, leader.
Colonel, picking up lifestyle. Hundreds of them.
It's impossible. It's an automated mine. Check your readings.
I have them too, Colonel. I think it's an ambush. I've got nothing on visual.
This place gives me the creep.
But get it out. Didn't Gurney fix it?
Gurney was killed on the last assault.
Oh.
Deep scan online. Wavelength scan alert. Anomalies detected at 337 Mark 4.
All wings break off. Armed weapons prepare to engage.
Green, Colonel.
Roger, sir. I've got nothing on visual.
Yup, giving me the creep.
Can you see anything? Or is there something coming around?
2 marks detected. Class 4 Konstrukt 3 battlecruiser. Weapons armament. Barrage laser, pulse cannons. Weapons armed.
I can't see anything.
Ghost leader to CC4. We're under attack from 2 Class 3 battle cruisers. Request hyperspace pickup at 7.28.
Roger, Ghost Leader.
All wings rendezvous 7.28.
No need to tell me twice, Colonel.
What we lose?
Midgets and our crew.
Not good, not good.
They're in pursuit.
Stay close, number 2.
I can't keep up, Colonel. I have 2 engines down.
Stay focused, number 2. The cavalry's here. Number 2. Damn it. Damn it. CC4 coming in with heavy damage. Ready, fire crew.
Flashpoint alert. System damage. Flashpoint alert. System damage.
Vacuum beam is secure. Shut down your engines, Colonel, and we'll pull you in.
System damage. Flashpoint stable. Systems offline. Flashpoint stable. Systems offline. Flashpoint stable. Systems offline. Flashpoint stable. Systems offline. Flashpoint stable. Systems offline.
Looking in on my mother's life allowed me to learn much about emotional suppression. Losing her entire squad impacted greatly on her in the days to come. It was this guilt that fueled her on when most would have given up. Mara, my mother, was an intolerably lonely woman. The members of her squad were her only friends on board.
I've received a disturbing message about the source of this ambush. I'd like to see you in my ready room after the offensive.
Yes, ma'am.
Roger, 9123.
Admiral Keyless and my mother never saw eye to eye. I learned later that the Admiral's prejudice towards the best colonel in the fleet stemmed back 12 years. Mother was never aware of what lay hidden in her past.
I really miss you, Mum.
I love you.
When you coming home, Mama?
Soon, baby, soon.
Aggregate failure. Prepare for emergency re-entry.
Full power on all turbine thrusters.
Emergency code 2. Battle stations. We're being pulled out.
Prepare for emergency re-entry.
Reverting to normal space. Scan the area. Cannot believe the gravitron waves have pulled the entire fleet out of hyperspace. Must be a planetary anomaly.
Don't know much about this graviton emission wave.
Take a visual outside your window. What can you see?
Alert. Anomaly detected at 37 Mark 26.
They can't fire on us if we're on that side.
Mother had one friend left on board, Corporal Roger Blake Usul, a lowly technician who had risen to his rank through wartime attrition. Though hardly a man worthy of any form of command, Usul had an unusual talent for keeping himself out of harm's way. He was one of the few people Mother trusted with her life.
What are you doing?
She suspected he was a third-stage prophet, but Usul denied any such possibility. The Konstrukts had threatened the galactic quadrant with planet smasher technology for many decades. Using unstable antimatter warheads was considered impossible until one succeeded in destroying the Earth. The success of this act brought the entire quadrant into war. The destruction of Earth was a fluke, a one-off stroke of luck that would never be repeated. As the war progressed over the years, the Konstrukts applied themselves to perfect their antimatter technology. Then one fatal day, they succeeded in perfecting the ultimate destructive weapon. The galaxy would never be the same again. How did you know?
This is an automated central command authorization. Capsule 779er to proceed to pre-planned coordinates 55844666455. Await further orders from High Command. Priority 1. Await further orders from High Command. Priority 1.
Roger that. Capsule 779er automated control proceeding to new coordinates. Awaiting orders. On board are Colonel Mara Shryyke and Colonel Roger Usul. Their condition is stable.
Mother's only comfort was her addiction to her mind game apparatus. Amidst her isolation during the war, Mother had stopped taking her addiction suppression drugs. Occasionally, when under the mind game control, she received strange visions of moments lost to the past.
Incoming message. Confidential level 2. Colonel Mara Shryyke, eyes only. Nephilim agents report an Infinity 7 planet smasher to be launched in 42 hours. Prime target is the home world. Land on SETI Alpha 4 and disable weapon. War Rocket 3 is 22 hours away. Require additional troop and weapon support. They are home to your personal transponder. Nazul agency suspects Corporal Usul is a double agent. Dispose of him immediately and stop the launch at all costs. Your own life is expendable. Message repeat. Confidential level 2. Colonel Mara Shryyke, eyes only. Nazul agents report an Infinity 7 planet.
The homeworld of the Konstrukts, Konstrukt 3, was an industrial world around 2/3 the size of Earth. Though once teeming with life, it possessed an unstable atmosphere. Within a decade, the planet had gone through an accelerated terraform to bring it up to human standards. The escape pod's auto-landing had not worked as well as expected. Each pod doubled as a hyperspace thruster. Emergency rations and supplies were often non-existent, having been stripped for use over the years by a degrading military force. Usul, the traitor, had hidden a small atom slicer pistol on board. Mother had no trouble finding it with a small radiation detector.
Central city distance 200 kilometers. Warning, excessive radiation. Time to launch, 41 hours, 35 minutes, 24 seconds. Bio-automation, active. Passive alert mode.
Mother experienced the occasional hallucination during the mind game. But on this world, hallucinations came without precedence. I think she surmised that something in the planet's biosphere was causing her mental contusions. Constructs were known to have thick skull cavities through genetic engineering. Originally, the Konstrukt 3 world was established as a medical research colony. They were responsible for deactivating the aging gene in humanity, extending human life past the 120-year marker. Their true obsession was with re-engineering humans to create a new species, Homo Technis. As a race, they would stop at nothing to achieve their goal.
Bio-automation, high-speed mode.
As a result of the harsh terraforming, most of the indigenous K3 life had completely vanished. Being a world of 3 suns and 4 moons, it was prone to massive weather variations. The average day could last anywhere between 2 and 40 hours.
online. Tracking sensor online. Tracking sensor online. Biosignal detected. Bio-automation, combat mode.
Many times, Usul had whispered thoughts of improving humanity. Mother took this as intellectual overtures of early romance. Those around Usul suspected otherwise, but Mother would always defend him. How wrong she was.
Offline. Offline. Bio-automation, high-speed mode.
Hyper-accelerated running and combat modes would heavily drain my mother's bioelectric boosters.
Energy low. Energy
She had been fitted with the best military-grade ionic body web, but extended use would drain the reserves fast.
Energy source, 7.8 kilometers.
Great battles were fought in the early days on K3. The religion war of 2130 saw their first settlements wiped out through hundreds of nuclear strikes. The radioactive plains were said to be haunted with the spirits of the dead who were needlessly slaughtered many years ago, or so Mother believed. The truth was perhaps stranger. The Konstrukts had once fought to destroy all forms of religion. In latter years, they had embraced proto-religious concepts to help propagate their new species. It was hinted amongst the academia that the Watchers were the ones who seeded mankind's genetics in the past. Anomalies in the genetic code of humanity indicated somebody had interfered with our evolution. The Konstrukts were opposed to this notion and waged an ideological war against the Watchers. They, not the Watchers, would guide humanity's next step. The Konstrukts would tap huge reserves of power from the ether of the planet's biosphere. Energy nodes lit at K3 at regular intervals. This bioelectric power source alluded to the fact that the planet was a living entity. In school, I was taught that the ancient Earth was a living world like this. It was said that following its destruction, the bioelectric energy waves would echo through the quadrant for centuries.
Recharging. Unstable power supply.
clothing. Bioshrines are stable and active. Energy reserves low. Fluid levels low and critical. Medical teams stand by.
Where have you been? It's about time.
Glad we found you, Colonel. Had a hard time tracking you and staying out of radar range. We got food, water, weapons, and a small platoon of soldiers ready for your assault.
Usul's love for my mother was truly deep. As a fleet commander in his own military force, Usul was able to engage 6 dreadnought vessels to find my mother. The planet's biosphere took its nourishment from its 3 interrotational suns. Many times during the planetary year, K3 would enter a heat zone that would raise the equatorial temperatures to inhospitable levels. My mother was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The winds were like a blast furnace, searing off the top layers of skin. Living through Mother's life would always be a test of my own courage. Had I been her, I would have collapsed in the sand, given up, and surrendered. Somehow Mother always found the courage to push on.
I don't understand. I'm so trying.
In her unconscious state, Mother communed with the life force of the planet. K3 was founded as a medical colony, originally because the biosphere promoted a natural form of healing within the human body. This uniqueness was considered lost during the 2130 religion war. Mother was at odds with this strange world, but the world was responding with kindness. The constructs were destroyers of worlds, murderers. Though barely a conscious entity, the planet was now fighting alongside her.
Central city distance, 70 kilometers. Rocket-based ore transport. Destination Central City. 6 hours, 14 minutes, 42 seconds. Zoom sensor mode. Motion detector. Rocket-based ore transport. Destination Central City. Combat mode initiated.
Early experiments with upgrading sapiens to Homo technis resulted in the creation of emotionless drone soldiers. More machine than human, these sentries were a sad reminder of the failings of the constructs.
Konstrukt 3 is the Homo superior birthplace. Purge the animal Homo sapien from your thoughts. Animal urges are baseless and senseless. Control of the mind is domination of the beast. The future of humanity is us. Purge yourself of the beast within. We are humanity's last hope. Pureness in thought is pureness in being. Our time to create a superior race is at hand. Why not submit to voluntary biotech upgrades? The risk is now less than 5%.
The Rajblade Kusal reports debriefing. Commander Rajblade Kusal reports debriefing. Code 7. 316, report to control.
Biotech addicts are the first in line for immortality. No longer will the Watchers have dominion over who we are.
Recharging. Unstable power supply.
Memory, intelligence, and hard work are the keys to our future.
Warning. Power overload.
Raise your work quotient above 12,000 and live to the age of 300 years.
Power levels 98%.
Raise your work quotient above 200,000 and live to 900 years. Work hard towards immortality. Work hard for our race. Sow the seeds for the future of humanity. Homo Technis is our goal, our dream. The universe will be ours. Biotech adepts are the first in line for immortality. No longer will the Watchers have dominion over who we are. Homo Technis is our goal, our dream. The universe will be ours.
Two hours, 10 minutes, 46 seconds. 2 hours, 10 minutes, 46 seconds. 46 seconds. 46 seconds.
It's over. Mara, please.
For this. One down. like this then? How am I supposed to do this?
We've detected Planet Smasher device. Deathbringer class, bearing down on us. Wave 1. Emergency evacuation ships are away. Expect countermeasures to be launched in 5 minutes. Intercept fleet in 7 minutes.
This had better work.
Wave 1. Emergency evacuation ships are away.
Come on. Mother's parting gift, a small planetary shuttle, became my most precious possession in the years to come. I eventually found her memory download capsule inside a navigational beacon. These beacons littered the hyperspace trade routes. Made of titanium plasma steel 8, these tiny memory capsules were embedded in the base of a human skull. When my mother was vaporized in the explosion, the only thing that survived was the capsule. I have lived through the memory download of my mother's life many times during my 6,000 years of stasis. Over and over, she lives and dies within me. Though I hardly knew her, I miss her terribly. I have glimpses of her earlier life on Earth, the great cities, the ancient architecture.
What's your name?
Mara.
Hi, Mara.
It's good to have you back.
Mother spent her formative years dealing with her mind game addiction. She never spoke of my father, though I know he was there to help her overcome the addiction.
I think you need a shower.
Buried deep in my mother's memories, I glimpsed an Elite 7 timeship in the Los Angeles skies. I heard many rumors of time travelers visiting Earth. To my knowledge, many had tried, but none succeeded. Most of this technology was lost during the Mars Liberation War. I have to do this.
All right.
My mother and father had been together 57 years. They lived in many places. The mind game issue had plagued every major city across the Earth. When the war began, addiction suppression drugs were made compulsory by the ruling military government.
Got the new Infinity 8. Yeah, everyone's onto it. Yeah. Preview.
Do you have the warrior spirit to overcome the world of darkness? Then baptize your soul in the fires of hell with Infinity's Fantasy Dream 8. You are the mighty warrior Princess Azura, who must do battle against your evil stepsister Cheyenne. Infinity's Fantasy Dream 8. Can you survive the fiery battle against her dark angels? Infinity's Fantasy Dream 8. Can you conquer the treacherous peaks of Mount Calamari? Infinity's Fantasy Dream 8. And how will you react when Cheyenne reveals the dark truth about your own father? Infinity's Fantasy Dream 8, now with emotional interpretive technology, so you now have no memory of the pain and torment of the real world, leaving you free to be who you really are, the warrior goddess. Oh, no, wait, there's more!
I found traces of my mother's time on Earth. To many, Earth has become a myth, but to me, our beloved Earth, our birthplace, still exists in these memories. This is all we have left. A few weeks after I was born, the memories of my father were permanently erased. Someone high in the military had tampered with my mother's mind. From what I could piece together, Admiral Keyless's prejudice towards my mother was born out of guilt from 12 years prior. The Admiral ensured that my mother would have no memory of the betrayal. Regardless of this, the pain would always run deep through the complex memory strands of the human mind. The human mind was unknowable. It could never be mapped and never be destroyed. Something would always remain. My mother's life and my own are now intertwined. I am more her than my own self. My own experiments in time travel were geared towards warning humanity. My hope was that if I could change the past, I could change the future. I failed. My adventures through time and space stranded me in this place. My time crystal accelerator will not operate here. Time is slowing down, and nothing can stop the inevitable.
My name is Ivor T. Shryyke of the New World Colony, Sector 4, born Earth 55 AD. My time crystal accelerator has malfunctioned and stranded me here. My craft is protected by a null gravity field. Any attempt to enter the field will awaken my stasis. Please, help me.
Life support restored, motion stabilizer offline, ID scanners offline. Light batteries 6 and 8 have failed, and you've overslept. I've missed you.
Status.
You won't like it. You have been in stasis for 6,994 years, 28 days, 11 hours, 38 seconds. Energy reserves, 20 minutes of full power remaining, equivalent to 42 years in living stasis, and 108 years in emergency stasis.
Just in time.
And you have guests.
Welcome aboard.
I'm Cyrano, this is Stasis.
Thank you. Just give me a moment. I've been living in stasis for...
Yes, a very long time.
I was living through downloaded memory engrams. They've been in the family since 2048.
6,900 years of living other people's memories.
The synaptic interface was breaking down.
Yes, it would appear everything's breaking down. We're lost. Could you tell us where we are?
24th century combat issue.
Mars Liberation War 2320.
And where did you come upon an elite time ship?
It was caught in the crossfire of a skirmish. It was watching us for days. There was acid gas everywhere, so we hid in it for shelter. It malfunctioned and brought us here. Are we in a dark matter cloud?
This is the end of time. The universe is collapsing in on itself.
Private, do you have any idea what she's talking about?
I think she knows more than she's letting on, sir.
Yes.
You are a billion years in the future. Time is slowing down to nothing.
Yes. I think she's,
You're not the brightest star in the universe, are you?
We need your star charts, your food supply, and your power modules.
There's always someone like you to spoil my day.
Enough talk.
So, you're 24th century guys. Then you've never met a 33rd century guy.
I am a genetically enhanced 24th century guy. Stasis is still waiting on his upgrades.
Yep, still waiting.
Move.
I'm feeling much better. How enhanced are you?
I am a level 5 combat drone.
Well, that got me going. Neutralize weapons, mark.
Thought you'd never ask. 4 minutes, 20 seconds of life support remaining.
Never mess with a 33rd century girl.
Damn it!
Ivor, let me finish off this upstart.
Now you're making me angry.
Let me at them. Come on.
If I had time, I would make you suffer.
Hull breach on level 12. Access radiation. Hull breach on level 12. Access radiation. Hull breach on level 12. Access radiation.
Life support failure in 30 seconds. Null gravity field failing.
Stabilize our descent and prepare for slingshot maneuver.
That old chestnut's not going to work.
Come on, ship, don't fail me.
Light thrusters offline.
Options?
No options. I've failed you.
Open the radiation collectors.
Collectors opened. Power levels recharged.
Status.
Systems repairing. Estimate 3 hours for optimization.
Activate null gravity field. Fire all light thrusters. Intruder alert. Who are you?
Are you addressing me?
What are you?
We were the Watchers.
The Watchers?
At one time.
Yes, I've heard of you.
And you, a proto-human being.
The Watchers? You gave us dominion over a quarter of a galaxy. Then you vanished.
We recall proto-humans squabbling over territory for an eon. Your ascended ancestors sought us out. For a time you were with us. Now you're lost again.
What are you?
Consciousness, intelligence, stripped of matter. We have existed this way for many eons. Matter in the universe was breaking down, so we shrugged it away. Physical life in the universe ended a long time ago.
Then you are surprised to find me.
Yes. And like all beings of matter, you're unfortunately a prisoner of matter.
What do you mean?
When all matter in the universe is returned to the source, it will collapse on itself and restart again.
And where does that leave me?
You're all that's left. With the universe's collapse, everything begins again.
I have to die?
As you have experienced life in this universe, it's our belief that perhaps you will live again in the next.
I have the stored memories of 1,000 years of human existence. I will not sacrifice it. What I have here is all that is left.
Where will you go?
We won't be going anywhere.
I have found a new energy source. I could exist for another 10,000 years, maybe 100,000 years in stasis.
Iva, that's such a limited perspective. The proton storms you see are matter breaking down. If you do not return to the universe will not restart. Soon matter will dissipate, and the universe loses its chance to begin again.
What you are saying is that unless we join with that giant ball of matter, the Big Bang may never occur?
In your simple terms, yes.
Don't believe what they say, Iva.
So it's all one big cycle. In a billion years, I'll be back here again talking to you about the same thing.
Perhaps. Or perhaps your knowledge added to ours will survive the restart of the universe.
Don't count on it.
I can't risk it.
We have hope. You must have the same.
No.
It's been a refreshing conversation. Please, Iva, have faith. Trust us. Please, Iva, have faith. Trust us.
Iva, in the past 1,000 years I have become self-aware. Please, don't end it all.
This time it will be different. This time. Not so fast. I'm coming with you.
Radiation shield active.
be different.
Iva, will I remember who I am? Will we be together? If you survive, remember me.
Memory download capsule ejected. Radiation shield off.
This memory capsule as a testament to my mother and all of humanity who live great lives. It is my hope that these memories will survive the restart of the universe. And you will remember who we were and how we lived.
When I was 2, I saw Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. I was in Yorkshire in England, and my father took me outside and said, pointed up to the sky and said, Neil Armstrong's walking on the moon. And I saw it on TV. I couldn't understand how he could be on TV and on the moon at the same time. I was always an avid reader as a child. The first book I ever read was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I think I was about 7 or 8 when I read that, and I moved on to War of the Worlds. I would build spaceships in my back garden, and I would spend years having adventures flying through space. Someone loaned my mother a 8mm camera, and I took it out and started filming things like helicopters and little movies, little adventures. Then the day came when I saw Star Wars, and to see a movie like that really just opened my eyes to the whole world of movie making. So from that point on, I was always building model spaceships and putting them on camera, even to the point of going to film school. In my younger days, I tried to be a pop star, a heavy metal pop star. I failed. When I was 18, I was, I guess, being groomed to be this television preacher. And I went on television a couple of times and had to argue with Catholic priests about God and stuff.
There is sin in the world, there is evil, but there's also good. There's good and evil, there's always a battle between it.
But it's very difficult for me to believe in a God if my little one's just been run over by a car.
Well, there's a time and place for everything. But
that's not much help to me. I'm crying inside. It's a wrench in my life.
But you could probably learn from this situation.
I failed at that pretty badly as well. I think the only thing left for me was to be a filmmaker. That was it. That's what I am. I always have this thing, it's very hard to get lightning on camera, and so I really felt it was, if we get lightning on camera, it would mean it was a good shoot.
Oh yeah! Got it? Yeah, that was perfect.
I'm only a director at this point, but it looks like I'm taking over as producer. I was one of the producers. These guys are really starting to fuck me over. They're just giving me the runaround at the moment. They're just saying, okay, well, fuck, put the money in the bank, and I go to my account, check it online, there's no money in there. So apparently they've sent the money through, it's disappeared between our bank and their bank.
But the show must go on.
Well, hey, I got people to fly in, we're already here. They don't realise that we're on location, we need money now. Now here we are having our production meeting the first day. We're wondering if this is a bad omen. There's a beautiful dust storm kicking in. As soon as everyone else flew in, I flew them straight out to this little saloon, and that night this terrible storm came in. And
prior to shooting our first real shot of anything, we really needed a costume for Usul. We got the usual thing, army boots, black army fatigues. I found this nice sort of combat jacket, and we just sort of put together a little outfit for Usul.
And here's Blake, dressed up in his black outfit for the first day, and he's got his gun, wants a couple of photos, so I took a couple of photos at the hotel, and then he decides to go walking around and, you know, I don't know what he was doing.
There was only 4 or 5 minutes involved with standing out in the car park in the sunlight, getting a few shots.
Suddenly he just races back inside and closes the door, and so what's going on? I peer out the window and there's cop cars turning up.
After the third car arrived, doing a sweep of the car park and banging on doors, we made the connection that perhaps looking like a paramilitary terrorist at a suburban hotel was probably not a good idea.
Every day from that moment on, cop cars were turning up and just watching. I think they were concerned that, terrorism had arrived.
Because I'd worked with Neil as a makeup artist, on so many different jobs, and when he called me and said, look, I've got this film I really want to do, we need to go to America. And I said, yeah, that'd be great, and here I'm thinking makeup process the whole time. And he said, well, no, I actually want you as the lead. And I thought, I've only ever worked with him as a makeup artist, so it was a bizarre process to find out that I was actually acting in this thing. I mean, he'd only seen a showreel of mine, and we were mucking around one day on set, and he put me in front of the camera, and obviously he liked the look, and then next thing you know, I'm in America shooting a feature film. It's very bizarre.
I've been developing this character, and suddenly saw the character in her, and just the way she looked. And it was really, wow, that's the sort of look I had in mind exactly. And she was perfect for the role. And I think the first day I saw her on set in her outfit and costume, and it's like, yeah, I was right. Thank God I trusted my instincts on this, because she was it. I guess the big problem was, there's this cloud hanging over the whole production, in the sense that originally we had quite a big budget. We had a $3.something million budget. And then these Canadian producers who'd come on board decided they needed to have a big fee, and so they took maybe $1.5 million out of it as their fee, leaving us $1.5 million to make the film. Okay, well, we can still do the film on $1.5 million. Then they came on board and started saying, okay, we've got special conditions about this, this, and this. We want, one guy wanted his cousin in the film in a certain role, it started getting a bit silly. I said, well, have they acted before?
Neil was waiting on some funding, which he'd been arguing about on the phone for quite some time with the finances. He'd been paying for everything out of his own pocket, and basically we were living on a budget. I mean, the food for the day was like a 79-cent taco for morning, lunch and dinner.
So right, yeah. So you want another $100,000 for that? So you're going to take more money for the budget? No, hang on. We're already under our budget, It's already going to cost us more than what money you're giving us. So you want to take another $100,000 out of that? The hardest thing was the responsibility. I take my responsibilities very seriously, and I was stuck in a foreign country. Well, it's not really foreign to me, but it was still a place you're out of your own world. And I had to basically financially care for these other crew people. And that was hard, because I was playing the parent role. And when you're playing a parent role, it's very hard to sort of get into that creative mode and be a friend to these people, because they're all my friends, very close, dear friends. But suddenly I was separate from them. And in a way that was pretty heartbreaking, because these were, people I'd known and loved for many years. But I had this position of, God, if I'm not tight with my money, if I'm not careful with how I spend the money, I could leave these people stranded here without any food or any way of getting home. So I had to take on a totally different role, and that was painful for me, because I was isolated completely. I had no one really I could confide in. I was, I had this whole movie, I had everything on my back.
Now, as each day progressed, the production budgets sort of spiraled out of control. One costly little exercise was the day the production vehicle got bogged in the sand.
Blake was up one side of this sand dune pitching a tent for us all, because we were shooting there later and we needed cold sand because I was going to be buried in it, and I just wasn't going to roast in this sand. So we set up the shade and he was doing that, and we were down filming at another place.
So, middle of filming, I just couldn't concentrate. I said, look, girls, I've just got to go up and see if Blake's okay. So,
one might think we're going to bury someone. One would be right.
So I jumped in the truck and drove up. He was fine, decided to reverse out. As I was reversing out, part of the, we had like a little sort of half road thing that was, help us get through the sand dunes. Part of the road actually crumbled away just as I was reversing, and we went off the edge, and the whole side of the truck just went boom.
Tess and I are sort of waiting down the other location, just, you know, waiting, and then we see all this sand flying out of the back of the wheels.
Within a few moments we were hopelessly bogged. I mean, one wheel was totally off the ground, another wheel was up to the rim in sand, and we were just stuck there. There was pretty much nothing that could have been done.
I ran onto the highway, found a highway patrol car, and asked him very nicely if he could assist us.
And this was a day that was sort of under pressure with the light and getting everything done, and so of course the car being bogged for 2 hours didn't help.
That didn't stop us. Production continued at a breakneck pace. Shots were still getting done. Basically, I was left up there to salvage the situation, and we got a call through to a local towing firm who had trouble themselves getting up the ridge. And here comes our rescue, and the rescue man is bogged. And the tow truck goes for its third run up. He's gonna make it this time. Here he comes.
We've done 2 scenes, we've got 6 to go, and the car's been bogged up the top of the hill. See the tow truck? We had to get the cops out who radioed in and got us a tow truck and blew half of our budget. Oh look, we've got somebody else coming up here now. Now see, that's what we should have had in our budget to get.
A few $100 just to tow us out of the sand. And he said, oh, what are you doing here? I said, oh, we're shooting a movie. He said, oh wow, can I be in the movie? I said, yeah, it'll cost you $500. At that point, I rang a real estate agent friend of mine in Australia and said to them, I think I need to sell my house. I've got 2 houses. I need to sell one of them very quickly. And I need money urgently. Thankfully, this wonderful real estate agent jumped on board and within a couple of weeks sold the house because the market in Australia was very good at the time. Right, we're 3 days into shooting. 3 days, we've already been shooting 3 days. Yeah, I told you that. Look, I told you that 3 days ago, okay? Well, everything is now coming out of my pocket. Just turn the camera off. Just tell them to get his fucking ass out of gear, right? No, it's bullshit. Well, 1 minute we got $3 million, next minute we got $1.8 million, then I'm asking for $300,000 and you're telling me some bullshit about the stock market? You don't have your money in stock, so what are you complaining about? Well, they're gutless little assholes, okay? Tell them to get his shit together now. Put the camera off. Tell them to get his shit together now. Sorry about that, girl.
Everything all right?
Yep. Just telling you where to go. Yeah, oh, you're still rolling? Can you, I think we should just put the camera for a while, okay? Just off. Okay, take aim. Pull the thing out. That's it. Now careful, really careful. Recoil. Okay, get it working. It's not working. Fight the gun. Get frustrated with the fucking thing. Bang it. That's it. Okay, hold it. Now careful aim.
When we first got to the desert, I mean, we'd been in winter in Australia, and I knew that it was going to be hot, we're going to be in the desert, but I don't think anything could have prepared me for the heat wave that came at us as soon as we got off the plane. There was one day I particularly remember that I had to run up and down these sand dunes and run past camera, and I think it was the 3rd take on this, and I'd gone straight past camera, and all of a sudden I just lost my hearing. I was just about to pass out. I thought, I'm going to die. This is the day I'm dying. I had no idea that it could actually be so hot. It was just unbelievable.
Boy, a gale out here. I can hardly talk above all the wind noise. I've ordered all the crew to wear face masks. I'm going to dare it without a face mask till I'm a real man.
There was a particular time in the desert when we were filming, and it was at the end of the day. I think it was about the 3rd or 4th day in the desert, and it was really, really hot, and I was really exhausted. The wig was getting to me. It was all, very difficult. And we were going through, and it was just asked to run up and down these hills and, back and forth. And of course, you need virgin sand for every new shot, so I'd have to move over and run a mile and run back over these hills. And there was at one point when I was feeling really unwell, like ready to pass out. Neil started yelling at me, get back on, we're losing light, we're losing light. And it was a lot of pressure, and it was very intense for me. And I think, I know the reason that he pushes so much is to get the ultimate picture. But for me, that was probably one of the hardest days.
After enduring the desert, I was very scared that the whole crew would rebel against me. I thought, well, we've got to make this a little easier from here on in. And I thought, well, okay, let's go up to Lake Powell, which is up in the north. And if you don't know, that's where they shot Planet of the Apes, the old and the new.
Okay, we just spent a few hours in the water, spent 3 days in the desert, as hot as you like, and now I'm cold. Look at my fingers, they're blue.
Hey, try and come to shore now, try and get to shore.
Just lost my gun.
All right,
This was not in the brochure.
Lost our gun.
We lost our
My
gun.
fight with the serpent was quite rough.
We lost our arm wrist thingy.
Lost our little
Which we'll get another one.
One of the other hiccups at Lake Powell was that although we'd have procured a permit for shooting in the state of Arizona, unwittingly when we were in Lake Powell, we'd actually crossed the border of Arizona and Utah, and we were now shooting in a totally different state, unbeknownst to us.
Next thing you know, a park ranger pulls up and starts having a go at Neil about, permits and all the rest of it.
And he said, sort of clenching his gun on the side of his body. I don't know why they arm these park rangers, but this guy was armed. And he said, look, he's quite angry, you're not supposed to be here, blah, 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 where's your permit? And I said, well, sir, I've got a permit, and showed him what I had, but it was not the right permit for the right spot.
And this park ranger was pretty cross, and I think he was just about to cut Neil away.
Eve came on board and just thankfully realised what was going on, just fluttered her eyelids and said, oh, we didn't realise you needed a permit, we're from Australia. And she managed, I think once he, he saw her and she, spoke to a pretty girl for a bit, he calmed down and he was very helpful. And
so we nearly lost our director that day.
The shot called for a few pebbles to roll down a hill, and then perhaps a few larger pebbles, culminating in a boulder slide of epic proportions. So as the trusty production assistant, special effects and physical kinetic effects expert, I was called upon to scale up the side of a hill in full Usul costume, having just finished a shot in the area, and proceeded to initiate a rock slide. Oops. I think it really sort of got out of hand, because halfway up the hill, when I pushed off, the rocks, off they went, they started sliding away, and then they knocked other ones, and then momentum. And basically half the side of the mountain started coming down. Now at this point I was halfway up the said mountain, and as I was climbing up and looking behind me, the rocks falling away, the momentum of them falling away was actually catching up to my altitude on the mountain, so I had to keep going higher. And as I went higher, the rocks below me just kept falling and falling and falling.
Yeah, it was quite huge, and there's this incredible echo that just went on for miles. This big giant dust cloud, and I thought, oh my God, I really hope the owners of the quarry don't hear this. But I thought, right at that moment when I started filming, I kid you not, the camera stopped just as the landslide had started falling. So I was like, shit, Blake, we need to do this again.
As the end of the trip loomed closer and closer, we found ourselves in LA. Again, shooting without a permit.
And of course, that's where we're parked.
I think we did some exterior shots and bits and pieces. And then I realised I had no money.
Pretty much everything fell apart in LA.
So the budget's gone from $3 million to $1.8 million down to $1.2 million. And out of that $1.2 million, I'm left with, yeah. Well, I paid for everything myself. Yeah, we kept shooting. No, fuck it. You'll have to pay me back. Yeah, well, you know, you guys come with the money, it's your film. I had to sell the house. You know, I wanted to keep that, you know, I thought that'd be a nice thing. That was my retirement fund. I've sold my retirement fund for this, all right? I mean, I know you've got three or four houses, I know you've got a fucking million retirement funds and your kids' college funds and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I'm sort of stuck without the money. Yeah, this is all I've got. I'm not rich like you know? I'm the struggling filmmaker here. And I'm paying it out of my own pocket. And you guys want to own the thing at the end of this when you haven't paid me any money. No. It doesn't work that way. You don't pay me when the film's finished, you pay me when the film started. Yeah, exactly, because you're the ones who are paying... You're the guys who own the film. I'm just making it for you, you know? It's bullshit. If not, I'm going to own the film, I'll make the money.
The money was not forthcoming. Basically, we'd been told that funding for the picture had fell through, some lame excuse about recapitalising in some other area. It was that point that Neil lost it.
No. I've decided not to take your money. No. I know you want to put it today, right? Okay. Well, it's too late. No, you fucked off. You fucked me over. I'm sorry. It's too late. I'm paying for this myself. I've sold everything. I don't care. Hey, you want to try and sue me, you can, but guess who owns the rights to the film? I own the rights to the story. Well, you fucked up. I'm sorry, you fucked up. I told you should got to pay the money. Yeah, well, why didn't you pay the money when we started shooting, you dick? Oh, hey, it's my film now. You know, you can sit there and write your check. I won't cash it. It's your problem. See ya.
In a way, it was a lot easier to do the movie back in Australia because suddenly we were surrounded by a whole infrastructure of crew and people and good experienced people who I'd worked with before who knew what they were doing. In America, it was just like a skeleton crew and, you know, fighting the forces of nature every day. I managed to track down a DP I'd worked with in the past called Dan MacArthur, who has won every award there is, done everything there is, still got a good energy and a good creativity happening. And his shooting style is similar to my own, his lighting style is similar to my own, so he could just slot in and, you know, take over the DP roles, which was really a blessing for me.
You want to go, obviously, full body for me.
It's good to have Jim Lagerstead back on board again. He'd been working on my second film, so he knew all the trials and tribulations we'd been through on all the movies, and it was good to have, you know, him come on board.
Yeah, I was actually promoted. I was promoted to production manager, which was again a very interesting experience for me.
These are the problems. Find a solution for me, and he just sewed it up for me perfectly.
The blue screen days were interesting because we had none of that on the previous production to become one. So it was a new experience for me and many in the crew. It's very different from shooting on a location because you really have to try to visualize what's around you and behind you and all that. And obviously, at some point, the only person that can do that is Neil. for everyone else, it's people standing in front of a blue wall.
Yeah, but it's nicer to be home shooting this because in the desert it was pretty hot. At least we can control the environment a little bit better here and keep our cool, as it were.
It was so intense what they were doing, what the actors were doing, that you actually somehow, that blue screen disappeared and you actually saw something else in front of you when you were watching them, especially watching through the monitor. You actually saw some kind of context, and it wasn't just people in front of a blue screen anymore. There was actually something happening in front of you, and that, to me, really, that's where the acting and directing came through.
You look to me. Remember that line we practiced? When are you coming home? Okay, that's all we got to do.
It was a good day. My own daughter did a cameo in the film. Again, she was also in my second film. And she did a remarkable job. I mean, I know she's my daughter, but she did it perfectly, and I was amazed. Not amazed, I'm not surprised, but I was pleased to think that she did me proud. She was good in the role, not just because she was the director's daughter, but because she was right for the role as well.
Neil had basically gotten some funding together, and we went to possibly the most expensive location of the shoot, a full-size battleship berthed in a dry dock harbour in the Maritime Museum.
It was costing me $800 per hour for this place. So every time something went wrong, in the back of my mind it's like, shit, there's another, few dollars out of my pocket, or, there's another meal I won't have.
One of my favourites, I think, for pure joy and entertainment would have to be when Mara and my character had to pass each other in a very tight, confined space, and I had to deliver a line to her and be all terribly serious. And Eve, the lead actress, and I know each other offset. So we were all good, we're very professional people, and you get into the moment and, you live truthfully, and she keep it real, and she stood in front of me, and the next thing you know, we were just snorting and laughing like 15-year-olds at our first disco. Colonel.
Not too far.
Colonel. 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 Admiral. We've received some disturbing information that may explain the last ambush. I'd like to see the It was just appalling, and it just went on and on and on.
Guys,
that's not working for you, is it? And it went on and on and on, and then we eventually got the magic, and he was happy.
Action.
We were in the bowels of this ship in the engine room, and we had our DOP, our sound guy, lighting. We had Blake and I filming in this, plus our director, and it was so small and cramped. And there is this little claustrophobic issue that I have, and it was really hot. We were in our full black outfits. The lights were on us. That was a very intense day.
Although we were paying $800 an hour to be there, this museum was still open to the public. So there we were down in these cramped conditions in this engine room shooting the escape pod scenes when tourists up 3 or 4 decks above were in the control room pulling levers and ringing bells. I remember that every 5 minutes it seemed that this massive clanging was ringing through the bowels of the ship as some little kid be up top in the control room pulling a lever.
Here, are we? Hello, Dan, can you hear me? We've lost our DP. Hello, Dan. There's another one here. Hello, can anyone see Dan? Is he around?
Calling Dan, can you hear me? Mr. Dan, are you around? Please come. Where the fuck are we?
Captains. We're on board the. Oh.
Please come to the steering wheel room.
Full power on all turbine thrusters.
Emergency code 2. Battle stations. We're being pulled out.
Prepare for emergency reentry.
Returning to normal space. Scan the area. Reverting to normal space. Scan the area.
I guess the interesting thing about my life is that my father was always a sea captain, and I spent many of my childhood days aboard a large ship, something like this one here. And it was such rooms like this that inspired me to really show the inside of spaceships as being much more realistic and technical. I'm not really into the concept of spaceships being full of bright, shiny things. I think real spaceships in outer space would have much more machinery like this. I guess there's always a sense of danger when you're on board a ship because there's no sense of being able to call upon your allies or anyone to help you if you get in trouble. You're really on your own, and it can be a very lonely place. So like in outer space, you're just looking out into the expanse of nothing all the time. Outer space now is the ocean of yesterday. There's that sense of discovery, the sense of meeting new people and, you know, possibly being attacked by them and killed by them. At any second, you know, a storm could come up. You can be invaded by pirates, which does happen a lot, especially aboard a ship like this.
In case you see any small boats coming alongside, because there's a fair bit of money on here. This is just as a warning in case they come too close and in case their intentions are not legal. If they come on board despite that, which they will find very difficult anyway, then other action might be taken. If you read the books on the pirate attacks, there are more pirate attacks occur in these waters around here, around Singapore Strait, Malacca Straits, around Indonesia, than any other part of the world. Powerful, you see. They came alongside the ferry while it was in position and tried to get on board, but they couldn't. We're a casino ship and people assume that we have plenty of money on board. However, being a high-sided passenger ship, it's very difficult for any pirates to get on board. Problem solved, yeah, no worries. Everything fixed now. They go to prison, maybe, or maybe it's execution, I don't know. Who knows what the penalty for piracy is around here?
That was 4 water spouts came up before, all around the ship. Must be a sign.
Gold Coast, local area, and we're seeing Neil's passion for filmmaking in progress here today as he throws himself into the role of director, producer, writer, main antagonizer of the project.
You need to hold it somewhere when you shoot, you know?
Yeah, underneath's better.
Underneath. You can't really rely on that not to break off, so...
See how it's
yeah.
Okay, so don't actually think that that's an actual handle.
It just vibrates like this. Or whatever, but you know, yeah, sure.
I have to say that the whole time that we were travelling around America with all these different, like, completely adverse conditions, like the deranged cultists chasing us, the police thinking we were terrorists, the sandstorms, the extreme heat,
everything that went on over there. He was the coolest cucumber. He kept everybody really calm, and I think because he is so in love with what he does that it just keeps everybody energized all the time and keeps everybody loving what they're doing. And I've got to say I really appreciated that about him. There will be contact, but I promise.
Yeah, did you want to kind of wrap it in a way or just basically stand?
She just stands here, and what are you going to do? Lift your arm up.
So with a gun on, yeah?
To go like this.
Whack it.
Yeah. In slow-mo though. Okay. In slow-mo. Okay, so just lift that up. Slow, that's it. Bang. 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 And then swing your arm back. And then she thinks, oh, fuck this. Oh, this is when you go find some dirt.
Well, see, wouldn't he have hit me on the first hit? There's no need to carry this out. Boom, I'm like, that's gotta hurt. So I'm down on the ground.
He's missed you on the first hit.
Whack with some dirt and off I run.
Well, he misses you on the first hit. Okay.
Oh, I see.
But he gets you on the recoil. So basically, you just sweep the arm across. She ducks.
Oh, I see.
And then up.
Whack.
Yeah, whack, whack. And then what does he do? Then slow-mo.
Oh.
When you see the finished product, you can't believe it when you've seen how it's actually been made. And that, I really enjoy that process of seeing how it's being made and then seeing the finished product, because there is such a big step from the raw, seeing it live happening in front of you and actually seeing the finished product. It amazes me, and every time I see it, it amazes me.
So, needing a location for the missile base, we proceeded to take over an entire brewery with all its piping and appropriate looking scenery.
I wanted the sort of industrial feel to the film, to the city. I didn't want it to look like a regular city. I wanted it to look like something more mechanical. There's a lot of red tape we had to go through to get to film there because, these people are very safety conscious and everything else. And so they were kind enough to give us permission to film, in their brewery. So we all had to wear a funny little yellow vest. It looked incredible. The lighting that Dan came up with and the shots were just amazing. And yeah, we had to put effects on later to enhance it, but it was an amazing place.
As we got to some of the last shots at the brewery, it was a pretty grueling day, and the last shot we were getting in the can before we lost light was very crucial that we got that shot because we weren't able to really come back and pick that up. And this was Usul's death scene, Mara's confrontation, basically a pretty heavy sort of emotional shot, but physically very taxing as well. And just before the final take, I think just on the final rehearsal, Eve managed to quite seriously pull a ligament or sprain her leg quite badly to the point where she really wasn't able to walk for long.
Throughout America, I was always aware of injuring myself because we're in such an isolated location, and considering all the action that Mara had to go through, I really reserved energies and was always cautious of where I was going. And I ended up, running up cliffs, jumping off cliffs, diving into the ocean, being buried in sand. I was covered in bruises, and one particular time from my my gun belt that I wore, I was getting bruises from my gun hitting it, and all sorts of things went on. And then we get back to Australia, and I'm running along a tarmac, and I actually injured my leg. It was the weirdest thing. There was no danger.
She couldn't even walk, the poor girl, so we had to sit down and let her rest, and we got a cold pack for her leg, and the insurance companies, I'm sure, were having a field day at this point, going, oh God.
I've got what I need, so I'm going to do that, and then we can have a breather, and we can do the close-ups while you're in pain.
You're not the most compassionate person no, you Neil.
There's not one compassionate bone in his body. You could be cut in half and he'd go, get up. We're losing light.
We still needed to get the shot in the can as the sunlight was fading, so we hastily added into the film the fact that I had winged her with a shot to her leg, and that the limp that she has in the end of the film is actually quite real, and she's in quite a lot of pain.
As happened all the way through the film was we had this thing, if something bad happened or something happened, it was meant to be. There was a scene in Lake Powell where Mara lost her gun in the water, and so we couldn't find this gun, at all. So we ended up saying, okay, well, let's make it that she did lose a gun in the water, and you know, she goes to pull a gun and it's gone, which created problems later in the script. But you know, we sorted those out. And so with this one, we decided, well, I think it was Eve's suggestion, let's make it that, you know, Mara gets shot in the leg and cannot run off to the spaceship. She has to limp. And I said, yeah, that'll work really well. In fact, it really helped, because then she has to kill Usul in this scene, so to give her a good reason to kill him. Mara was sitting inside a Nazi bomber, which, you know, had been put into this museum, and of course we're going to mat it up and it's all going to look different at the end of the day. We just wanted to use the cockpit part.
Watching the missile, suddenly it accelerates, you get pissed off.
They had military tanks, and I love military hardware like tanks and planes. It looks cool, and if you're a kid, it's great things. You know, it's great fun to play in. So we were just playing for real. I mean, wouldn't you just like to have your own tank and get inside and have it turn it into a spaceship and fly through space and, you know, do all this stuff inside and put weird lights in? And that's kind of what we did. We got a special camera to film inside the tank, and yeah, we made this sort of spaceship out of it. It was just so cool. They're good times. These are good times to have, because it's not every day you can try and, you know, do the inside of a spaceship and fly through and have adventures in space and shoot up, you know, other enemy vessels, and you can't do this in normal life. So it's just cool to be able to just jump on board and recreate some new reality. So yeah, it was a fun day at the War Museum. I had a blast. So I've caught a very quick flight over to Germany, because I've been ringing the effects company for the last few days and no one's been answering the phones. They've not been answering their emails. I've managed to make contact with the receptionist, and she's told me things are not good. They've officially closed their doors, and come Monday, everything they own is going to be seized, including all the tape stock, all the footage, and basically all of my effects footage from the film is also going to be seized.
We're about to do something illegal, and I have no qualms doing this because something of mine is inside this building. I'm going to find a way in right now to try and get it. It's a little bit quieter now, so I'm going to try and sneak in and just hope no alarms go off. Everything's off. The power's still running, but I don't want to turn any lights on, just in case. This is where we used to do all the effects. It's where they do a lot of the sound. I'm not going to steal anything that's not mine, you know, it's just really trying to get the stuff that belongs to me. Can't see any tapes here, I have to go through to the back room. Those lights are still on, so I wonder if anyone's around. In one of these cabinets, I'm hoping the footage will be in here. So remember one of these sort of cabinets? No. It's going to take me a while to find what I need. I hope these people have been really good with their filing. Okay. This is interesting. A lot of this is empty. Johnson Space Center. Failure is not an option. That's kind of my motto right now. I don't want to fail. There's a lot of money tied up in this place.